Hello and welcome back to the channel and a new video. I've been trying to do this video for a long time. If you can hear the rain in the background, it's absolutely biblical at the moment. And I wanted to start this video, the most hated aquarium in the house, and I'll flip the camera and I'll show you why. So this tank, the glass gets like this after a week to 2 weeks. So blackbeard algae, I get BBA all down there. Here's one of my loaches and my big fat cories. So we've got 3 of those cories. We do feed cucumber. We've got a one-eyed, I think that's the one-eyed one, peppered cory, might have a couple of those. A few hengeli, rasbora, loads of muck guppies that are crosses between endlers and normal guppies, bits of floating plant absolutely covered in blackbeard algae, plants here absolutely covered in blackbeard algae. There's also a couple of clown loach in here, so you can just about make one out in the bit of wood there. He sort of sits in the side, and I think the other one goes in one of these caves wherever he seems to be. But there's also what's supposed to be a bristlenose pleco in here. But let's give this a clean, and you'll get a feel for why. So I think that's the pleco there, because the yo-yo loach is back there, and there is only one. There's the other clown loach. So there's one there. I believe the pleco's in here, and the other clown loach is back there. But look at the blackbeard algae. Now, I'd be lying if I said that this was a week or 2 weeks. This is 3 weeks, but I'll explain why it's 3 weeks, and it does get this bad in 2 weeks. So my wife was on holiday for a week, and while my wife was on holiday, I fed the tank. So my wife seriously overfeeds the tank, and you've only got to look at the intake on that filter to have an understanding what goes on. And I mean overfeeds it, absolutely overfeeds it. And if you saw the size of that bristle nose, which I believe is a female, I mean that's fat. It's got to be 1.5 inches wide. But let's give it a clean anyway and top it up, and I'll take you guys along for the ride. But the purposes of this video is showing you guys how I clean it, how often I clean it, and why it's the most hated aquarium in the house. So you'll notice I'm not obviously in the shrimp room. So this is going to be my tool of choice, a gravel cleaner that I've had for absolutely donkey's years and used these forever. I can't remember not using these. Along with that, I'll be using, on this tank, we've got an internal dual, so it's a dual vision 180, 180 litre, 40 UK gallon. And I've got the internal dual filter, and I've also got an Oase Biomaster 600 on that, and we'll show you that throughout the video as well. So we start by making sure we've got a towel, because I'm going to get my hands wet. And then the first thing I'll do is I'll lift the 2 lid slots off and just stand them here for now, but I do go and wash those afterwards because they get all slimy as well with condensation, and no doubt one of those will fall over while I'm doing this. But push the light backwards, take out any floating bits of plant, and just sit those on top of the light for now. And then I need to get my hands dirty, unfortunately. So tool of weapon of choice, sorry, that's a new filter. So weapon of choice is a Seachem scraper. I sell these in the longer ones, and then I'll follow that up with a classic scouring sponge. But the reason more plants, I might actually take that plant out. It's been there forever, and I was hoping it would grow. I never feed it. But start with the razor, and the reason I start with the razor is because all of these bits of spots of blackbeard algae will float into the water column. So when I do drain it. Have to be careful with this down the seams because of how dual do their seams. So now that I've cleaned the glass, what I'm going to do is just trim the plant, and all I'm looking to do is take off the bits that are covered in blackbeard algae, which, if I'm honest, is pretty much all of it. And I'm just snapping off the stems, trying my best to sort of keep some of the plant intact. And it does grow quite nice. It's just a Hygrophila polysperma. I've never put any ferts in here. To be honest, with the amount of fish in here, you don't need ferts, so probably seriously overstocked as usual. But I'm just trying to sort of cut out as much or rip out as much of the sort of infected, in fact that can go back, of the infected Hygrophila as I can. And this is just a fine gravel on the bottom. I'm probably going to end up taking all of this plant out if I'm honest, but there are some bits that are not too bad. Although not many. And I deliberately left this a little bit longer than maybe I normally would have, just so I could give you guys a video of how bad it gets and how much it frustrates me. And it is all down to seriously overfeeding. I mean, I could change the lighting pattern as well, I suppose, but you know, when you've got something in your head of a root cause, and you just sort of stick with that. Well, to me, that root cause is that my wife thinks that a pinch is a bucketful and seriously overfeeds these fish. Getting there, although we took most of the plant out. But I reckon if I bury that, take these couple of stems here and start from scratch, that might be good to go. Next bit then is getting my old trusty siphoner, and hopefully I don't hit the gouramis, and hopefully I can sort of unwrap this around the tripod without knocking the tripod, but knowing my luck, I'll knock the tripod. And it literally just goes out the back door into the garden. And just before we start that siphon, I'll show you. So this is the internal dual filter, and as you can probably see by the outlet there, there's well, I'll actually show you this. So if I take that pre-filter off, which will be absolutely, I mean, just taking that pre-filter off, look at the state of that. And it's just old food because it's been fed to death. But look at the flow on that. I mean, I will take that that nozzle off and give that nozzle a clean anyway. I'll just give that a scrub and get rid of all the blackbeard algae off that. And under here, we've got the Oase Biomaster 600. So I've got it in such a way that I can pull it out, and we just take the pre-filter off that, but I'll do that in a second and pick back up. I don't siphon the gravel's absolutely covered in blackbeard algae. I'm literally just using this as an easy way to empty the tank, and then I just tuck it under the light fitting so that it stays down to this level, and we'll pick back up when that's empty. So let's do the pre-filter on this Oase filter. So I've got myself a bucket ready, and there is a knack to these. So what you have to do is switch off the inlet pipes first, because without that inlet switched off, it won't let you release the pre-filter. And then it is just a case of lifting it up, putting it into a bucket, and you'll be absolutely gobsmacked when you see the state of this pre-filter. And this is just a couple of weeks. My own one, the Iwagumi tank, I clean that once every 6 to 9 months. This is every 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm going to try and open this with one hand. I don't know how well it's going to work. I think I need 2 hands. Okay, you guys ready for this? That's 2 to 3 weeks. Wait till you see what they're like once they're cleaned. Just wanted to give a comparison to a cleaned one and a non-cleaned one, and the size difference because of the pressure that has been put on it, trying to get muck through that. And there they are, cleaned to a degree. So you'll notice it's 2 different colours. And what I do is nothing special. I just literally scrub them out under running warm water, and every now and then I'll change half of them, so hence you can see the colour. Now you'll notice the ones towards the bottom, which is actually the top, because it's upside down, the ones towards the bottom are much cleaner and a slightly different colour. So they're obviously the newest of the set, and I will change the top 3 at some point in the near future because they're starting to sort of get limp and not be as effective. But putting this back in is just the reverse. So I'll clip this back together, put it back in, and then we'll carry on. So that big blob of sludge has come just literally out of the end of that pipe. One clean inlet pipe, and my tools of choice are literally a scouring sponge and an old brush. Water, a sponge, and a bit of elbow grease. Now that the siphon's finished, it actually switched itself off. It's a good opportunity to just go over the glass again and look for any bits you've missed, especially down towards the gravel, which I've missed plenty. You can see it a little bit better with the lights off. Bizarrely. Scare your fish half to death. My wife hates the gouramis. They just bully each other. Well, one of them is a bully. But we've had them a long time. 9, 10 years coming up maybe. A long time. And then from time to time, what I'll do is I'll take something out, such as one of the caves, and I'll just soak it in some, what's the solution called? The algicide solution of some description. And give you a treat to an acrobatic kissing gourami who landed on my hand. And then from time to time, what I have to do is I have to run some algicide down the seam because it just gets covered in blackbeard algae. It's just, I hate it. It's horrible. It could be such a lovely tank if it was cared for properly, but I've mentioned it time and time again, and it just doesn't sink in. Not interested. So it'll be a mess until we get rid of it. Hard bit now is filling it up because we're so far away from a water source, a tap, faucet. I'm currently bucketing this in. I need to find a better way, maybe a python or something like that. But let's get the buckets filled. Let's get this done, and we'll come back to it once it's finished. I'll show you some of that. Normal tap water, this one. I use Aquadip H2O maker. I put in 25ml in one bucket, and then sort of halfway through filling it up, I put another 25ml in. I think 30ml does the whole tank, but I just overdose and it doesn't hurt. So Aquadip stuff's in, mix a little bit hot and cold, just to sort of get a temperature feel, and then repeat. And then I'm literally pouring this into the tank and using one of the ornaments as sort of a break. Repeat that process till it's full. Took us about 8 or 9 buckets to top it back up. Next step is to plug everything in and prime this Oase filter. So it does have like a pre-filter pump on it. Now I find the 300 series and the 200 series way better than the 600, but you'll hear it. It will start to sort of push the bubbles out. I may need to top the tank up a little bit more. Yeah, that's going. So I'm just going to lift the camera up a bit, and I'll show you what I mean about the substrate. So there's obviously loads of crap floating around this still. But even the substrate's got blackbeard algae on. So I have made a bit of a hole here where I was pouring the water in, but I can sort of tidy that up and straighten that up. And I've took out the decave, and I've literally just give it a spray with a liquid carbon, just to try and treat that blackbeard algae. And finally, I do need to clean the pre-filter again. So it's actually picked up a lot of mess. So I'll just pull the bottom off that, give that another clean, and I'll repeat that process until it's sort of running clear. I have taken the decave out, and also the shrimp tubes, the 3 ceramic shrimp tubes. I haven't taken this one's like a resin type thing, but I haven't taken that out. I do need to clean that again. And the gouramis really like getting in camera, so I do need to clean the front glass. But I cleaned the pleco cave and the ceramic tubes with a wire brush, simply with a wire brush. Now, obviously, that's sort of doable on stuff like that, but it's a lot harder when you've got sort of bits of timber in place and stuff. And this is a dumping ground for fish. You know, I'm not going to sort of hide from the fact that it is a dumping ground for fish. But at some points, I'll empty it. You know, we'll get some totes. We'll put the fish in totes, and if anyone wants a handful of muck guppies, just give me a nod and you can come and grab some. But at some point, I will empty it, probably bleach it, give it a good clean out, and sort of start from scratch. And if I plant it, here's somebody we don't see very often. So there are a couple of coolies in here, and they're really strange patterns on them. They've sort of got half banding, but lovely little fish as well. To finish this video then, I know a lot of you might think, this is a guy that runs an aquarium business. Why would you show an aquarium in such a bad state? And I'll explain simply why. Because I'm not fake, you know, and we all have problem tanks, or we can all go through problems with tanks. My wife overfeeds this. I've asked her time and time and time again. I've even hidden food. She's gone out and bought food. I've asked her time and time again not to overfeed the tanks and let me feed the tank. But like most partners, they do their own thing, you know, and I'm not the boss of her in the same way she's not the boss of me. So the tank is what the tank is, and I want to portray me and our tanks in their, you know, in their full light, not fake. I'm not putting up, I'm only showing you the best. You know, I'll show you the best, the worst, the warts, the, you know, ugly, everything, and that's just me. I'm open, I'm honest, and that's how I want to portray myself. So that's it for the end of this video. If you've stuck with us this long, massive thank you. Help us to grow and share this video by giving it a like, a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber and you want to see not just this type of negative content, but positive content too, and you're into shrimp, fish, aquariums, I do dart frogs, and I've set up another channel for the isopods called Podpets UK, so at Podpets UK, and I'm just going to use that channel to post odd bits about the isopods on, and the spiders, and maybe the frogs. But I know the frogs are well liked on the aquarium channel as well. So if you're not already a subscribe to us, hit the notification bells on. It's free. Notification bells mean you don't miss any content that we put out, and as creators, subs massively help us to grow. So give us a sub. It would be massively appreciated. If you leave us a comment, we'll give it at least a heart. We'll give it at least a heart. We answer some of them, not all of them, but we make sure we heart everyone and read every comment that comes in. So until next time, guys, I'll leave you with a bit of footage of the tank once it sort of settles and I've cleaned the front glass and stuff. Take care. Catch you later. Bye-bye.